On behalf of the Grădina Moldova Association, I would like to express my gratitude for joining us in this event, because you know that the topic of seeds is a very important topic. And I would like to give you a couple of words about the project, because this seminar is organized as part of a project. So this is a project regarding some seed libraries in the Republic of Moldova, as well as the launching of this Moldova Czech seed libraries here. So that's a project jointly implemented with the Seminkovna from Czech Republic, and we have Klara. She'll speak about plants, and we'll learn more about botanics, and also we'll learn more about
recording in progress.
Sorry, this is the recording. So we will have the recording of this seminar. So why we decided to record? Because you will get a lot of information, and we wanted to make this information available for the other people who have not managed to join us in this event. So therefore we will be recording. So please, I hope that you don't mind having this recording. If you don't want to be seen, you can turn off your camera. But we wanted to make this seminar available for everybody, so thereby we decided to record the information. Once again, we will speak about seed libraries. As part of this project that was launched in December, so the first thing that we did together with Klara is that we have developed an article. We wrote an article about the problem of seeds in the Republic of Moldova, why this kind of issue is a challenge, is a problem, why it is important to launch this project in the Republic of Moldova, why do we need this kind of libraries. And on the chat, you can find a link, and you can find the article where we are trying to substantiate and to explain. And it can be found in both Romanian and English. So that was the beginning. So we will start the first out of the 5 seminars. So we'll speak about some botanical aspects about multiplication of vegetable seeds, and that would be presented by Klara. And then later on, we would go to a practical side, because it's very important to have this practical side. And that would be done together with Mariana Sheremet, but that would be done in the Republic of Moldova. It will be done in person. So once we have complete this seminar with Klara, we will start onboarding for the seminars with Mariana, and that would be done in person. And then we would have another seminar about seed libraries. So we will explain how this is being organized, what is the purpose of this kind of seed libraries, how this kind of libraries can be developed or created. It can be in a school, it can be like in an ordinary form of a library, it can be in your household, it can be done in any community. It's absolutely free, but there are some methodological aspects that can be helpful and would make us more efficient. But it's not only that we would organize seminars, but would also give you presents, would give you seeds. Those people who would attend the seminars from beginning to end, you will have the possibility to create your own seed library using all this information, and would provide 20 set of seeds from the ones that we have available at Grădina Moldova, and that would be like a beginning for developing a community library. Also, we would see how that would be distributed, who would receive, or maybe that would be an association or a community, couple of people who would like to start this kind of library. So the possibilities are different, but that's a very good opportunity for you to start this seed library. Another very important issue is that in April, so beginning of April. So we would organize another very important event. So that would be a fair and exhibition of plants and seeds. During that particular exhibition and fair, we would launch the seed libraries that would be selected during the next couple of months. And we would also present as gifts a different kind of type of seeds for the participants in those exhibitions. And we will try to invite everybody, not only the ones from the Grădina Moldovi, and we have very much that would have some guests from Romania. So we would see whether it would be possible to have the representatives of the neighboring countries. But that's our purpose. We would like to create a platform, a possibility to unite various people, as those people who are responsible doing this, who are saving the seeds, who would like to share the seeds that they developed and saved, and also to amplify and to scale the heritage and the wealth that we have. So this is, I would not take much of your time on the subject of this kind of seminars, but what I would like to add from logistical point of view, so we would have a translation provided, and on the bottom side of your screen, you can find a globe, and you can find and you can choose the language that you would like to hear the presentation. So either you would like to hear it in the original language, that would be Klara's speech, or in the translation, that would be in Romanian. And also, as I have said a bit earlier, this meeting would be registered, would be recorded in such a way that it could be used in the future. So that's on my side. I believe that I have mentioned everything that was important for us to start. Klara, you have the floor. I believe that we would like to hear and to learn more about the beautiful world of seeds and flowers and plants. Klara, your mic is off. Could you turn it on? It's off.
So this is my turn. Okay, because I didn't hear the translation to English, so I did just think what you just say. So thank you for the introduction and for the invitation, and also big thank you for to be with Seminkovna in this project, and to do this great work in Moldova, because I think it's very important to promote seeds and seed saving and seed libraries also in other countries than Czech Republic, and really thank you, and I'm happy that so many people was coming today, and will spend a little time with us. So I think that I could start to share my screen. So now I hope you see it. I saw the Anya show that it is okay. Yeah. So just a sec. I will. Yes. Okay. Just maybe. This side. Okay. Okay. So we can start. So I'm happy to be here and to present you today this presentation, which is has as the topic the botany for seed savers, and I call it in my country as becoming to gardener 1.0, which means that the saving seeds, it's the higher way of gardening as I see it. Maybe you can you will understand, maybe you not, but this is my point, and I think the seed saving is very important. So that's why here in the beginning, I choose these quotes coming from the Karol Depe book. It's saying that gardening and seed saving are essential skills for surviving the crisis. And I have to agree with Karol Depe in this in such a sentence. And I think it's really important not just to know how to gardening in our garden, but also how to save seeds, because seeds is essential. And without seeds, there are no gardening. So that's why I think it's really important not only to know how to grow the things, but also how to save seeds from it. So it's me. My name is Klara Hrda, as Anya said, and I'm the founder of the Seed Libraries initiative in Czech Republic called Seminkovna. And I'm mother of 3 kids, and plants are my long life passion. I always had a little garden already as a kid, and I love gardening. I have the chance to live a part of my life in France, and then that's where I met Seed Libraries. And when we moved back to Czech Republic, I decided to create this network because I found out that it's very important to start to talk about seeds, at least to talk about them, because we don't take the seeds often too serious, because we think that there is always be there. But I found out that it's couldn't be like that. There's many changes who has happened around, and we are not aware. So I found out that it's very important to be more concentrated on seed, and that's why I started seed libraries called Seminkovna in Czech Republic. What I'm doing today, I'm currently create the educational online program, Seed Saving with Seminkovna, which what I'm presenting you now, it will be part of it, I hope. What I'm doing, it's that I'm learning beginners, mainly the beginners, the things that they need to start saving seed, because I think the rest will coming with the practical, with the practice. But to know the beginnings and to know the basics of botany, it's really important. It's because I think it's the same as you want to drive a car. And it's a really similar. Also, if you want to drive a car, you want to go straight to the car and start to drive. You can, but I think there is a high possibility that you won't succeed, that you will make a crash of the car. It's the same with seed saving. You need to go first to the car riding school, and then with the lessons of you go through, you can start to drive your car slowly, and then you can continue. And with the seed saving, it's exactly the same thing, that you need to start to get some information at the beginning, and then after that, when you are aware about these basics, you can start to do the things in practice. So what we were talking about today. So we start with basics of plant reproduction and pollination and fertilization also. And then we will talk about seed saving, the advantages of home seed production. And we will talk also about the crops you should choose when you start seed saving and why. So at the beginning, I think that plants are very, very fascinating, although many people could take them as boring because they don't move, they don't express their emotion. They are not so cuddly as a little puppies or little cats. So it's the trees are and plants are so boring, maybe at the first sight. But when you look a little bit closer, you find out that their world is really fascinating, what they did and how they evolved during the years. And generation. So we really should know much more about them and to see this magical part of them. And Anya will propose this quote to say that plants are really sexy, because we will talk about their fertilization and reproduction. And I think she's right, because there is really some plants that are maybe too sexy. If you look at them, as you can see now, I choose some pictures that are really sexy. maybe too much, some of them. So for us, I think that it's really important to really look closer. But this is the funny part. But when we go to the main point, we will start with morphology of flower, because flower is the main part of the reproduction of plants. So they to get reproduce, they need to go to flowers. The plants start to create flowers about 125 million years ago. So it's a long period. They are evolved many ways of flowers. You see the Tolodoica maldivica. It's not a flower. Sorry, it's a seed. But they really created a great creativity of flowers. And it's because they are whole this period are going and with symbiosis with their pollinators, and by that they really created some special thing, as you can see. But if we look closer to the flower and we imagine the really easy one, you can see that the flower, all the flowers are created for the 4 main parts. There are sepals, which is these parts of flower. Then petals that which could be colorful and attract the pollinators, and stamens, which is the male part of flower, and carpels, which is the female part of flower. So this is important just to know and recognize how the flower looks like, and that this is the female part and this is the male part of the flower. And on this, on basics on this, we can create a flower pattern. I make here an example. I wrote an example, and based on this flower pattern, we can recognize the plant family, and this is the Rosaceae family. So this is just for you the basics of how the flowers look like. So if we want to start to talk about plant gender, if the plant is a girl or boy, we can find out that there are in many cases they are both. They are at the same time male and female. So we could say that they are hermaphrodites. But there are many plants that they have separate male plants and female plants. We will see on the next slide that at the basics there are 3 kind of plants, how they do exist. As I said, many of them are hermaphrodites. So you can find both sex on the same plant. Then there is a other way how it could looks like. So it's still on the same plant, but in the separate flowers. And third things is third possibility that is not on the same plant. It's on the different plants. So we have the female plant and the male plant. So these 3 main type of plants exist, and we sometimes we need to consider a little bit in a seed saving, because if we have this kind, we to produce the some fruits, we need both sex, also the males and also the women's, so females, and to create the seeds and the fruits. In this case, we don't need that, and we have the both sex at the same plants. Sorry. So this is just another image how it could looks like, and this is the example how it looks like if it's with female flower and male flower. There could be some residues of the other sex, but the flower, the main part of the flower, takes only one sex step. So why this is important? I think for seed saver is good to recognize these, because for the pumpkin, for example, for the pumpkin family, it's very important. If you would like to try the hand pollination of pumpkin, you need to recognize the male flower, here, and the female flower, and this will help you a lot. So this is why we need to learn a little bit of botany to be able really to save seeds. Also, if we want to do some more complicated things from seed saving. So I have prepared some test questions in my presentation, just to invite you in to participate on this presentation, because if I talk 2 hours straight, we will be bored, and that's how I want to make it more funny. So I just wanted to ask if you know some examples of hermaphrodite flowers, on which plant we can find the hermaphrodite flowers, and if you know the example of plants when we have separate male and female flowers, or male and female plants. If you have some, if you could say some example, if you have some ideas, you can use the Moldova language, and Anya will check. So is there somebody who could add, or you can write it in chat if you want. So the possibility.
Pot spune? Laleaua este hermafrodită, dar cătină, da, ea și în chat, cătină e plantă aparte, da, flori masculine și flori feminine.
Yeah, Anya, is that right? I don't heard the translation.
Sorry. So they listed the two types or several types of plants, among which
Flori separate.
separate flowers, like hermaphrodite tomatoes, kiwi.
Yeah.
They have different gender plants.
Right in the chat, and it's great. Hermaphrodite for tomatoes and kiwi, different gender plants. Also in cannabis, also yeah. That's a true. So I hope it was okay. Also, what was said in Moldova language, I didn't understand. I'm sorry for that.
I think pistachio has female flowers on one plant and male on the other. Pistachio trees.
Yeah, I don't know, maybe.
Îmi cer scuze, eu știu de cătină albă, la fel.
They are listing some yellow fruits, and I don't know how it is interpreted. I will try to. Încă o dată cum? Încă o dată? They said something in English.
Încearcă să traduc.
Hipofire. The word is hipofire.
Yeah. It's also you're right. Hippofe. Okay, I already heard English. I start me the translation to from Moldova to English. So now I will hear you. So here you can see some more examples, and I hope you it's really clear this image that you can recognize which crop or plant will make part of which group. And I in my presentation I add some funny fact because I think it's nice to know what plants to do besides these basics information. And I was talking about sex. I think there is some kind of some kind of plants which are really inventive in this way, and it's very interesting. You will see this kind of plant called Arborella trichopoda, which is endemic in Caledonia. And these plants have separate plants, the male and female one. And what is funny on this kind of shrubs or little tree, that he can change their sex. You know, in one season the tree can be female, but the other season he can be male. So it's really inventive, and it's a specialty you can find in the world of plants. So just for you to, it's a fun effect what the plants can do. And now we just going through both through way how do they really do it, how they do their sex, if we want to use this language. So let's take a look in their bedrooms. So for the plants, the main way how they reproduce, it's the pollination. The pollination is essential for reproduction of the plants. Why? Because they, as I told you, they can produce the pollen and then they produce the eggs, but they don't have any way how to move the pollen to the female part of a flower by themselves. So they need something or somebody or something that will help them to move the pollen, the male part, to the female part of the flower. So, and it could be different things for them. It could be some insect, birds, mammals, but it could be also the wind or water, as you will see. So here I will introduce you the two different type of pollination existing in the world of plants. There is one type that it's called self-pollination. It's when it's this part here. It's when the pollen is moved from this part in the same flower to the male part from the male part in the same flower to the female part in the same flower. So they don't normally they don't even need some special insect or something. So this we called self-pollination or autogamy, if you want. So it happens inside one plant or one flower. The cross-pollination, it's that really they do need these kind of bees or something that take this pollen and move it to the other plant and put it on the female part of the other flower. So it's the difference. Now you can see the cross pollination. It's when we need 2 plants at least to get seeds, because they need to get the pollen from one plant to move it to female part of the other plant. So it's a bit more complicated, and for saving seeds from these kind of plants, just remember that you will need much more plants than in the first category of plants. And who is the one who moves the pollen from one flower to other? It could be many things. But mainly, what we know, it's the insects, or there could be some birds or mammals. Now you can see that there are also butterflies, bumblebees, or hummingbirds. So just also the question for you. You can check or try to find out what other things that I already said some. What other things could move the pollen from one flower to other? What do you think? What can act as a pollinator?
Somebody has written water. Somebody has written water in the chat.
Yeah. Water is right. Yeah, but if we look in the living world, if you have the idea what a part of insects and hummingbirds, what it could be.
Oh, people, and somebody is writing bees. They are still listing the wind, colibri, bird, bees, water, bats.
Also, yes. But bats is also the right answer. I will show you the next image. Now you can see a little bit that it could be birds, squirrels, monkeys, some reptiles, maybe some rodents. It's a different one mainly in a tropical part of our world. There are really maybe crazy things that they pollinate the plants, and even us, as you mentioned, even the people can or human can pollinate the plants. And this here you see that there are some abiotic way how to pollinate. It's the wind and water, and biotic, it's the birds, reptiles, mammals, and some insects. And why the pollinator are important? Because as I said, that the main part of plants are not able to move the pollen themselves from the male part to female part. There are some examples, but there are only few, and there are some examples of plant who can divide themselves asexually, but we put this apart. But the main part of the plants are really dependent on pollinators. So without pollinators, we don't have any fruits and no seeds, and we don't have the plants reproduced. So it caused a big problem for us. And they also help to maintain the native flora, because if you look in some tropical part of our world, often there are only one pollinator who pollinates the species of the plant or the whole family of the plant. So it's a really close cooperation, and if the pollinator died, the whole family of plants will die too, because they don't have the way how to produce their own seeds. So it's really important, and also it's boosted biodiversity, because they helps to create the healthy and functional ecosystem. And there are some facts that we should know, that really 3/4 world's flowering plants, and about 35% of world's crops are dependent on pollinators. So if we are talking now about the bees are start to missing, and it's a really huge problem for the humanity. So it's the pollinators are really important. So let's learn some funny facts about pollination. So for this image, I choose the family of Orchidae, because orchids are really inventive if we are talking about pollination and and their reproduction. In this image with Coryanthes, it's a really funny story about them, because here in the red part of the flower there is some kind of you can imagine a pool, but full of some sticky liquid, and the liquids it's a bit alcoholic. So this kind of fly are pollinator of this orchid, are attracted to the flower by the scent, and this kind of fly the male of the male of them are able to collect the scent in their body. So they come to plant to collect the scent, because the scent is functioning as attractive for their females. So that's why they are doing it. So they come to plant to collect this scent, but during the collecting of the scent, they fell down in this pool, in the liquid, and in the liquid they get a little bit drunk, so they have a problem to get out. And there is only way how they can get out, and it's going through here, through this part of the plant, the flower, and it's a really narrow. And as they trying to escape from the flower, the flower guides them to the really narrow way, and put on their back to sack. You imagine it like a sack full of pollen. So this male will fell down. He's really a little bit, let's say, drunk, and they had on their back the pollen. Once they became sober, they start to continue to collect their the scent to attract the female, and then fell down again in the pool, get drunk again. And once they try to escape from the flower take off the pollen they had already and put another one. So in this way it's continue. But for the fly, it's helpful finally too, because as they collected lots of scent, finally they can attract their female. So the male who is really active and get many times drunk, he finally attracts a lot of females to reproduce himself. The similar example, it's in Ophrys. In Ophrys, if you look at the flower, it looks like a little bit like a bee. So it's attract the male bees, and they come and try to copulate with the flower. And as they try to copulate, they here there is a two little sac with pollen. And the flower put it on their back again, and as they going from flower to flower, they brings the pollen from one flower to other. So it's also the funny fact. Here it's a vanilla. The vanilla. It's this is an example of a plant. There is when there is only one pollinator existing on the whole planet. So as the vanilla coming from Mexico, they have their own pollinator only in Mexico. But that there is vanilla coming. The vanilla, we are buying the vanillas are coming from other parts of the world. But in the Madagascar, they had to do it manually to pollinate the flowers. And imagine what kind of work is it that they whole day they try to pollinate every flower, every single flower, to get the things we will buy. So it's a really it's a crazy example how does it function. And this the last one is called Darwin's orchid. Maybe you heard about it. It's Angrecum sesquipedale. It's the orchid which was studied by Darwin as they are going around the world and studied the nature. And funny things about this one is that Darwin, only by the observation of these kind of flowers, he described the pollinator, although he never seen it. He described it as this this will be a moth, something flying at night, because the flower is white, so there is no color. So it's a moth. And what is not seen in the picture now here, that there is a long tube, long for, I don't know, 30 centimeters, and the nectar is only on the end of the whole tube. And what the Darwin was saying, that the pollinator who is pollinate this kind of flower, it's moth with a really long proboscis, who is coming down in the through the tube to get the nectar. And what was really funny, that Darwin died, and many years after, the scientists really find out that there is a moth who is called Xanthopan, and it's really exists. And her proboscis is really so long. He has about 30 centimeters long proboscis, and he fly to through. He approached to the flowers and really put the proboscis inside and at the end of the tube, and to get the nectar. And that's how this kind of flower is pollinated. So also it's only one pollinator existing in the world for this kind of flower. So now we will talking about how we can get the babies from plants, because we were talking how they are doing their sex, how the gender is done, and now we will talking about seeds, how to get seeds from the pollen, and from the missing female part, the egg. So how does the babies are going to be born? So another very scary picture, but I will try to describe it and to make it a little bit clear, because this pictures are showing the fertilization of plant. So it's a process of the sexual reproduction, and this is their sexual act in fact. And it happens like this, that this part, the yellow one, it's the pollen, and it comes to the stigma. It's a part of the female part of the flower, and the pollen start to grow. It has a little root, we call it the pollen tube, and they start to grow inside the ovary of the female part. You know that it could happen that they didn't get he didn't get to the eggs. It could happen. It happened mainly in plants that prevent to be pollinated by their own pollen. It exists because some plants don't want to be pollinated by their own pollen, and as it could happen that the pollen fall down on the stigma, these kind of pollen start to grow, but there is some chemical or some kind of things that protect them to go straight to the eggs. But if that is the right pollen, and he goes through the female part to the eggs, we get the things we called a zygote, and from the zygote we will at the end have the seeds, new seeds. So fertilization of flowering plants was discovered not so far ago, in 1884, and its function as as I described just now. There is another picture just to show you how does it function. Maybe it's more you can see it better now. And just to say that as the pollen are going to the egg, there are some parts of male and a female that get together, they create a zygote, and they after that it's creating an embryo, and an embryo will be covered, and this is a seed from which we get the seedling. And as we are talking about this, I think it's fine to mention the plant life cycle. How does it work for them, their life? So we have the pollen who comes to the egg and creating a zygote, and there are some creating some embryo. You can imagine as a little baby inside the woman, and then there is a seed inside a fruit. You know, the little seed. This is some kind of cherry or something, and once the fruit is eaten, we have only the seed, and seed when it's fall down on the ground, it start to grow, and we get a seedling, and then after all we get the plant, mature plant. We start to give the flowers. So this is the cycle, and we have you know that some plants have are able to do it in just one season, in just 1 year. We call them annuals, and some of them are doing it in the 2 years. We call them biennials. And some funny things. It's just what I was talking, that seeds are usually formed in some fruits. The berries fruit, and so is apple. And seeds themselves can walk, so they need to find out the way how to get far from their parents' plant, because if they only fell down, then there were lots of plants growing from the same place, and it won't be good for them. So the many plants have some something how or invented some way how to get far from the parent plants, but not so far, but a little bit far. So you know that some seeds have some wings, or some seeds are traveling inside the birds, because if the bird eat the cherry, you know that they have the seeds inside them, and then if they poop, they seed the seeds far a little bit far from the original tree. So it's like that. There is many ways how to function. You know, in the tropical world, there is some kind of tree that have fruits, and the fruits at one moment they breaks up, and the seeds are really crushed with the big energy, and they can travel really, really far with such a great energy. So it's like somebody how to call it, somebody used the pistol, you know, to make it fly. So it's really dangerous to go around these trees once their fruits go to the maturity. So because the seeds are really running so fast that it really hurts if they hurt you. So be careful in the tropical, and but there is many ways how can be done it. We have the plants who are using water. You know, the coconuts or other palms. use it, and that their seeds can travel really far through the sea, and then once they arrived on some other island, they can grow. So there is some question for you again. What do you think? What happened if a flower isn't fertilized? If there is no pollen coming to the flower, or if the fertilization doesn't succeed? What happened? You can write in the chat or say it out loud.
I guess the plants can die.
Yes. Yes, I think this is kind of a simple question, in fact, that if there is no fertilization, then there is no seeds. And if there is only one flower and no seeds from it, so the flower will die and we have no seeds. And if it's only one flower on the one plant, the plant will die or won't produce the seeds this season. So it's sometimes it's difficult if the plants are really depending on pollinators. So if there is I don't know, rainy weathers or really cold weather, so the pollinator, if it's a bee, the bee are not flying, so there is no pollination and no fertilization, and this kind of flowers will die without giving the seeds and fruits. So I'm just wanted to
somebody put down in the chat, Klara, that in that situation, this kind of species would disappear, would die.
Yeah.
So that would be another effect.
Yeah. You have right. As I said, it could happen, for example, for the orchids. If as I mentioned, the Darwin orchid, you know, there is only one pollinator who exists to pollinate this kind of orchid. So if it disappeared, the whole species will die. So that's right. You have right. So just before we go and start to talking about seed saving, do you have some questions or something wasn't clear or? Okay, we can continue. Great. So let's start talking about seed saving. We will take it from the general view, and then we will go to the botanical terms relating to seed saving. So seed saving, it's not rocket science, as I often say, because people now often thinking that for seeds to be successful in seed saving, you need to study at the university, or you need some special stuff or special mechanism, or I don't know, something special. It's just not true, because seed saving it's with us for the generation for 10,000 years already. So if it will be the right that you need a university for start to save seeds, we won't be there today, because we died a lot generation ago. So seed saving is not the rocket science. So what does it mean, seed saving? I forgot to ask you, because you know, when I'm talking to people that I'm promoting and start to learn people how to save seed saving, how to save their seeds, they often ask me what does it mean, seed saving, because they imagine if it's mean to grow some microgreens, or if it means I don't know, something else, because you know, for the modern people, what I find out that many people are not aware what does it mean. So I hope you are aware if you are here now. And I just to say it in a few words, the seed saving means to grow your own seeds, but not to only to grow seeds, but it's your conscious action to take the reproducing part of plants and to keep them and to resowing them or planting them the next year. So you are not going from seed to seed only, but only to from planting to planting, if you understand me. So it's really important that you really intentionally doing the whole cycle of the plants and help them to reproduce in the right way. So now it's a question.
Somebody wrote ecological seeds.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you can grow also non-ecological seeds if you want, if you put some chemicals. But what we are promoting, it's a natural gardening. So you said, as you said, natural seeds with no chemicals. But I wanted to ask you, what do you think that seed saver need for seed saving, to start to seed saving? What they need to have? If you have some ideas. So these are the three main things you need to start. There is something in chat.
Yeah, they put in English and then they put time, love, passion for plants, and that was in Romania. That is in English. Hands, instruments.
Land. Okay, I see. Okay, it's much more simple. Maybe that you think that it's what you need for saving seeds, the right seeds, the seeds that are non-hybrid, and it's a seeds that you are able to grow in your garden. You know, if I give you the seeds from some special palm, and actually you don't have the right condition in your garden, so even if you have the seeds, sorry. I'm sorry, that was my family. For this, it comes when I finished. So you need the right seeds, the basic knowledge about the biology, what I'm trying to explain now, and the right condition for in the garden and right condition at home, because some, not some, but every seeds you need to dry and keep or store them during the winter. So you need to have some condition at home to be able to store the seeds and dry them. So these kind of things are really basics. After you really need some passion, and you really need your hands and some instruments maybe to help you to get the seeds from the from the plants. But these four things are really basics, and without one of them you won't succeed. So why do we send saving seeds at home? Why we should do it? Why? I think that gardening is important, but seed saving is essential for us. And there is some advantages of seed saving. I can said in the beginning that maybe for some of us it's saving of money, because if we producing our own seeds, we are not forced to buy them, so we saving some money. So it's a good, and we have the seeds for free, and we have enough seeds also to share with others. So not only that we are saving the money, but if we share the seeds with others, the other people are saving money too. We are independent, so we are not dependent on some producer or some company, seed company. What do they put in the market? You know, because seed companies they are choosing the varieties which is attractive. There is some kind of marketing on it. So it could happen that you choose some variety, it's very good for you, you like it, you like to grow it, and then once you will come to the shop and there is no such a varieties, because the seed company decided not to produce it no more. So it could happen. So if you want to prevent this kind of situation, it's better to have the variety you can reproduce by yourself and keep it for many years as you want, and one day to maybe to give it to your kids and to your ancestors. Also, you make a biodiversity protection, because if you let the plants go up to the flowers, you attract some more insect in your garden. And so in this way, not only that you protect the biodiversity of the crop, but also to protect the biodiversity of the insects and any other animal which is connected to this. So that is the main points why we should save seeds at home. So again, test your knowledge. Maybe it's no knowledge, but some. If you have some idea, can you come some other idea or advantages of seed saving? If you have some ideas, what does it mean for you? Yes, to keep old varieties, heirloom varieties, tasty varieties. Yes.
Hello?
Yes.
I think sometimes it's very important to have some specific seeds, because some variety of the plants are specific for a region. So we want to have these seeds all the time for a specific regions. I think it's the same like for tomatoes. Some kind of tomatoes are good for my region, other ones are not.
Yeah, exactly. As you said, Marius, that's the thing, that you have the such variety which is going really well with your region, and maybe it's original from your region also, as somebody mentioned in the chat. And although it could be new one, but really going well with the region, so you don't need some other chemical stuff to help them to grow. You know, it's very, very important.
Yeah, exactly.
That seed saving, it's important also to become independent and to teach the kids. Yeah, it's important too. Yeah, and the possibility to share with others the good quality seeds. Yeah, and healthy and tasty food. Yes, it's many good ideas. What I put here, it's I think that it's really important that we know what we are growing. So if you're saving seeds many years, you already know how the variety is, she is promoting in your garden, how it function. If this variety works good with the way how you are doing the gardening. So and the things that you mentioned also, that we have the seeds without the chemical additives. So it's also very, very important that we can have the healthy food. We can create a new variety. You know, if you want, you can create a new variety. There is a way how to do it. And also, if you are growing some kind of variety for a long time on the specific way, on the specific region, the variety will change a bit. So finally, after many years, you will find out that it's a slightly different than the original one. And you can preserve the heritage. Yes, it's also very important. So if you have some family varieties, which was grown in your family for a long time, it's a good to preserve it to the local, also the traditional varieties. Maybe you have some varieties which is connected to your cuisine, so to meals you are cooking traditionally. So it's also important to protect them, to grow them, to continue with them, and not to let them disappear. And also you can make some experiment. Maybe somebody, I know the people, they do some experiment with the new flavors, new varieties, and they try to find the right one for them, what they do like. So now we can take a quick view in the history of seed saving, just to put it in the bigger image. So as I said, it's already more than 10,000 years that we are saving seeds, the humanity. So it's not like that there is somebody who studied many universities and then at the end he decided we'll grow the seeds. No, it was the many people, and the knowledge was shared from generation to generation. So the seed saving, it's really thing that we are doing for many years. And the fact is that the many, or only during the last 100 years, many varieties have disappeared because the people stopped to save them, to grow them in their garden. You know, the agriculture is different now than it was 100 years ago. So it changed, and it has really bad it wasn't so good for the biodiversity at the end. So again, test your knowledge. I will test you a lot today. So what's your idea? Why the agrobiodiversity has been lost during the 100 years? So do you have some ideas or something what really happened?
Weather changed.
Weather change, climate change. Yes, that's right. Yeah, there is not so much of seed keepers.
I think yes, because due to industrial agriculture and also because of hybridization that are not creating new seeds.
Okay. Yes, you're right. It's also in the chat, industrial agriculture, intensive agriculture, globalization, knowledge was lost, standardization. Yes, some law, pests, disease also. Yes. So you're right. You're really right. There is at once there is increase of using of monoculture farming. You know, the monoculture means that there is only one culture, and in the large area we are growing only one variety, and this kind of agriculture really are destroying a lot of biodiversity. Also, there is we didn't mention, maybe there is a start of using of GMO crops, because genetically modified crops are using now in the big scale, mainly in US, but also in India, in other countries, in Africa, and it destroys a lot their biodiversity and their agrobiodiversity. Also, the climate change and urbanization, and also the economic pressure on farmers to really maximize their yield. So they choose the variety who is giving the maximum yield and profits, and not growing other varieties which could be interesting in other ways, but not in the biggest yield. This kind of varieties are not so attractive for them. There is some historical milestone affecting the biodiversity. You know, it's during the last 100 years. It started by introduction of hybrids. In 1930, it started the industrial production of corn hybrids, but also the hybrids of other crops. And it was mainly after Second World War when the hybrids was really spread in the wider. And there were also some law which said that only the hybrids could be used to grow the food for humans. So that's when the biodiversity really started to disappear a lot. Here there is other milestone. It's the date when there were some law in US when they decided that the genetical material can be patented, because there were some somebody who created by moving some GNA in the plant, or I don't know exactly, and they made it patented there as an invention. So you know, it's really weird, because something which is natural, and you only help to help the nature to create it, and you think that it's your invention. It's really strange, but it's like this. And the last thing, it's the after 1990s, the rise of biotechnological methods and GM organisms, and that's when the Vandana Shiva start their fight against, because she really find out that it's really bad what it's happening, and it's happening till now. So let's learn some funny facts. It's not so funny, but some facts about seed market. So if you look at the seed market, that you find out that there is just a few companies who have a big control on the whole market. And if I said the market, it's a global market. There is only really few companies that have a big power on the production of seeds. Here is I mentioned that there are only 3 companies that controlling more than half of the seed market in global. So it's not a good good for us to know, to have this, because they so it's them to decide what we will grow and what we will eat and which price we will pay for it. So it's not very good, because if you imagine that these companies are agrochemicals companies, so they produce such varieties which are going well with their chemicals. So it's really not good news for us. And this is another information that 95% of vegetable seed market in Europe are controlled only by only 5 companies. So they also really have the big power overall. So it's not good for us and for the future. So now, as I promised you, that we will look a little bit on some botanical terms for seed savers. So what you need to know to start to save seeds, and in terms of botanical. So if we are talking about seed saving, so we need to start with seed. The seed is a really magical thing, because if you imagine that in only one seed, there is a promise that infinite number of future generation. In only one little seed, it looks like this, or it could be smaller. If you imagine the seeds of orchid, which is really like a little like I don't know, a cell or some piece of pepper, it's really small. And although it's a really small, it can produce an infinite lots of amounts of generation of some orchids. So you know, it's really powerful, and it's really important. Although we take it, you know, the people do not take the seeds so serious. What I find out. So it's important, and the germination. It's the moment when the seeds start to grow, and we can start to see the root. And it's a critical moment for the many plants, because the germination depends on 2 facts. One fact is the quality of the seed, and if it's a good seed, or if it's old seed, and his quality. And one part, it's made by external condition. So if the seeds are in the dried condition, so although it start to germinate, it won't finish good, because there is not good condition for them to grow. So it's really, really critical. And if we want to succeed our gardening and growing seeds, we need to cope very well this period of plant cycle, because the germination is very, very critical. So then I have a question again. So how do you think, how long do radish, tomatoes, and carrot germinate? If you have some ideas, you can put in the chat or say it out loud. Yeah, I need to mention that these kind of crops are different. The germination are differently long. So try to say how much for which crop. Diana said that for radish it's 4 days, and for tomatoes it's 1 or 2 weeks. Bianca said that radish is 3 or 5 days. Yes. Okay, let's look on it a little bit closer. So as you said, for radish, cabbage, or other peas and beans, it is about a week. It depends on the condition, but if the condition are right, it could be a week. For tomato and peppers, it takes about 2 weeks. And for carrots, celery, and parsley, it takes more than 2 weeks. So here we really have to be patient and wait a long time to let them enough time to start to germinate. And some funny thing about the germination, it's that the crops which are originally tropical often needs for their germination and to germinate really well, need a high temperature. You know, I mentioned 25 or 30, maybe you can give a less, but the temperature should be higher than, I don't know, for carrots and other stuff. So it's good to know that the plants often ask us to give them the same condition as they have in their natural, in the country or region from there come from. If we want to know if our seeds are good for germination, still good, because we could keep the seeds more than 1 year, and we want to just test them if they are still good, we make a germination test. It will help us to determine the condition of the seeds, and we can express some percentage of germination. So it's very easy. If you use I don't know, a blanket or a paper, and you give some kind of moisture and put on the seeds, let's say 10 seeds, and then we give them the right condition and moisture and temperature, and after, I don't know, 1 week, for beans, we can count how many beans are start to germinate, and find out the percentage of how many seeds are still okay for growing. Yes, so if you want, you can make a test. If you have some old seeds and you are not sure if it will germinate or not, you can make at first this kind of test. So how we can wake up our sleeping beauty, you know, the seeds, because some seeds are really not so easy to wake up, you know, and it's for us it's important to know how does it work with them, with their seeds, because seeds are able to be dormant. There is the term of dormancy, that we can say that these kind of seeds are sleeping, you know, it's they sleep, and it's not so easy to wake up them. It's something that plants evolved protect the seeds to start to germinate too early in the year, in the season. You know, if they don't have this, they start to germinate immediately after in the end of summer. So we don't want them, or plants don't want this in our region where we don't have the summer whole year. So they start to be dormant, and to finish their dormancy, there needs some conditional to wake them up. We call it stratification, and it's the way how we can stimulate the seeds and stimulate them to start to grow and start to germinate. The seed dormancy has different kinds. It's not so important, but you should maybe be aware of this, that maybe this kind of there are several types of dormancy, and the cost of the dormancy, and several ways how to overcome this. Maybe there is one kind of the dormancy with what we are putting our seeds on. It's when we dehydrate the seeds. You know, if you have the tomato seeds, you put it out from the tomato, you work a little bit with them, and once you get the seeds, the dehydrated seeds, we have the dormant seeds. You know, they don't start to germinate at the same moment, but we can keep it for, I don't know, 1 season, 2 seasons, 3 seasons. I think up to 6 years, the tomato seeds could be taken, they could be kept. So this kind of dormancy we can finish when we put the seeds in the moisture ground. So when we start to see them, they start to grow if there is some water around. So just to be careful. So if we have the dehydrated seed and there is some moisture during the winter, you know that then the seeds can start to grow, and it's not good for us. So we need to keep the seeds in the dry condition. So there are many others. You can check on it. There is many others type of dormancy and how to overcome it. And we just need to be aware of this. You know, just to mention some example, how does it work? Maybe for some palms. For some palms, they have a seeds. You need to cut them a little bit to help them to sprout, to germinate. Because without that, they are in such a good capsule, which is really it's not easy for the seed to start to germinate. So we need to help them, because naturally there is something who help them go out, and if not, the seeds doesn't germinate. Or maybe in Australia there is some seeds which start to germinate after they go through the high temperature. You know, they are, because in Australia there is lots of fires, and the seeds are made they start to germinate after the fire. So some of them are waiting for the fire to come, and once the fire is away, then they start to germinate, not before. So if you want to make them germinate before, you need to put them in the fire a little bit. So it's like that. So another thing we should be aware, it's the mother plant or parent plant, if you want. I don't know if you have the special noun for that. We have a special noun for that in Czech language. In English, I didn't find one, so I use this. And it's a plant we will choose that we will take the seeds from it. So just to explain, like maybe for the tomato, we choose the plant which has nice tomatoes with good taste, which is healthy and really well. And we choose this plant to take the seeds from it. And this plant we will call like mother plant or parent plant. And if there is some other plant which has some pests, some diseases, some troubles, we don't take the seeds from it, and it's not the mother plant, it's or parent plant. So it's our choose, and if we chosen some plants, we need to take care well about these plants, because this is plants that give us the seeds. The isolation is very important. As we were talking about pollination and cross-pollination and self-pollination, we find out that there are many plants, and many plants need to get the pollen from other plants, and this is the things that the plants wanted. But what we wanted, that only the same variety is getting the pollen between them. But if there are some other variety who's going inside, it's not good, because we can it could happen that they cross between them, and we get some hybrid that we didn't want it in the beginning. So that is something we don't want. So to prevent unwanted crossing, we need to do some isolation. And in the garden, it's sometimes it's easy, sometimes it's more complicated. But the general advice is to not to grow different varieties of the same species together, to make some isolation, make some distance between them. For some crops, for different crops, there is different way how to do it. So I think that Mariana will explain it more in the deep. Then there is a selection. As I said, we are choosing some mother plant. The selection is important to maintain the positive qualities. As I said, we are choosing the well-grown plant with nice fruits, very tasty and a good color, and so on. So the selection is really important. And now we can again test our knowledge. What kind of selection criteria can we choose to choose our mother plants, if you want? What do you think? Forms, yes.
Proximity to other plants that could cross-pollinate.
Okay. So is there any other way maybe you are choosing the one plants, the taste resistance, resistance, the maintain diversity? Which there is different way how we can do the selection. The one way it's as I described it, that we will choosing the best plants, the really best one, or you can take the seeds from all of them to keep the diversity, because sometimes it's like this, that in 1 year, in one condition of the one season, some kind of plants are really good, but some others not. But in the other conditions, it could be different. So maybe sometimes it's good to take to select all of them. It's time of maturation. Okay, so let's look on it. So as we said, it's tolerance to the disease, pests, or climatic condition, fruit quality, your taste, color, smells, harmless, and so on, and the tolerance to get stored. Also, sometimes it's important. Plant quality, as I said, if it's a nice plant or well well done. And in modern agriculture, there are some standard fruit size, some time to harvest, sustainable, suitable size for possibility of using the machinery, resistance to a long transport, and so on. So for the agriculture, sometimes it's a different quality that for us, because for us it's the smell, color, taste, and for them it's the resistance to a long transport. So what crops we should start with? There are three things we should consider. Reproduction. If there is a allogamy or autogamy, if they are pollinated by themselves or they need another plant to get pollinated. Pollination. If they are pollinated by insect or by wind, water is not important in the gardening, in the seed saving. Life cycle, if there are annual or biennial plants. So just to repeat, the pollination, we have two ways how the plants are pollinated. They are pollinated by themselves, so it's autogamy. So sometimes they even don't need some pollinators. Sometimes they do, but sometimes they even don't need it. Cross-pollination, it's allogamy. It's when they do need some kind of pollinator, and it could be some wind or water, or some other animals or insects or something. So here there is if we look at the autogamy or self-pollination as seed savers, we need to know some other things that I just explained in the beginning in the botanical way. The self-pollinating crops are peas, beans, lettuce, and tomatoes. And what is good for these kind of crops is that they are able to pollinate themselves. So we don't need that much plants to get the good quality seeds. We need a small number of mother plants, but we need to be aware that in a small percentage that can occur cross-pollination, also in tomatoes and these kind of crops. Be aware if you are beekeeper, because bees are really active. So if you are a beekeeper, that it could happen that the bees are so active that they create a cross-pollination also in these in tomatoes, for example. So be aware. And also we recommend, although they are